Welcome back to C Morning Show. It's time for our business talk where we will discuss about the weekly market recap of last week and the outlook for this week. And we are happy to be joined by equity analyst from Sukor Sekuritas, Zedekiah Diaz. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
I'm good. So it's good to see the rebound of Jakarta Composite Index. What can we tell from this rebound? Will it be long-lasting, or is it because of the election effect?
Yeah, so as we can see here from the graph, right? So last week, Indonesia's stock market actually trading only lasted for 4 days. And it was because on Wednesday, there's a Democratic Party, right?
Yes.
The general elections of our president.
Did you cast your vote?
I did not.
Me too, I was in hospital. Anyway, let's continue to talk.
Yeah, it's and then because the JCI was on holiday on that day, and then the day before the holiday, actually, to be precise, on Tuesday last week, the JCI actually closed down to 1.2% to 7,209. Yeah, somewhere around there. And then, however, after the election day, as we can see, right, to be precise, on Thursday last week, the JCI actually moved brightly and enthusiastically, even at the pre-opening last Thursday.
It jumped.
Yeah, it jumped, right? Step on the gas, 1.77%, and skyrocketed to 2% at the start of trading session on Thursday. First session on Thursday. And then also, if we look on Friday, JCI also strengthening 0.33%. And I think this because the investors welcome the result of the quick count, right, of 2024 presidential elections, which number 2, right, the
Yes.
pair of Prabowo and Gibran were ahead compared to other candidates. So I think from this, we can assume that investors are hopeful that the presidential elections only last one round.
Yes,
right?
one round election.
One round election.
As expected by the market.
Yes, and in this way, domestic political pressure will increasingly subside. So I think, apart from that, I think this week, my projections, the GCI will weaken just a little bit, even though on Friday we already see the chart actually from the first trading session to the second actually move downward a little bit, and then the only factor is the profit taking from the euphoria of the presidential election last week.
So we anticipate correction in the market to
Yes.
take place this week as investors or traders will start realizing their profit or taking their profit.
Yeah.
And this is the history of
Yeah.
the presidential elections. A day after the elections usually are welcomed by the market participants,
Yes.
right? Can you tell us more about this, Joe?
Yeah, so in here we can see from this historical data, this means enthusiasm, right? As we
Yes.
can see from July 2004, GCI is actually close 3.12%. And then we
Second round, this
second
is?
round, yes. And then there's on 2009, 0.03%. Actually, on the July 2009, actually this is the lowest, but it's still strengthening.
But it's still plus.
But it's still plus, yes. And I think this shows the enthusiastic of market players. Every time there is the result of general election is come to light, right? And then because I think when we know the result of the presidential elections, it also attract investment inflow, right?
Because the way the NC is over. Can we say that?
Yes. Because and then investment flow from both local and then also from foreign investors. And then, yeah, as we can see here, 3%, and then last week, 1.33%. Yeah, so.
So usually, as the market were expecting a wait and see to over, they welcome the result enthusiastically, and it also happened this year. And let's talk about this data, the Producer Price Index, PPI US.
So this is the data just been released actually on the 16th of this month, which is 3 days ago, right? And then, but before I think we go on to this, I want to talk a little bit more about the sentiments that has been going, and then will lead to why the Producer Price Index is very important for us to pay attention to. So there are several sentiments that we should pay attention to this week. This has been going on last week too, but this week is gonna keep going. The first one is the one we just talked about, the quick count, right? Because the market...
Or the sentiments for this week.
Because the market will ultimately get certainty more quickly, and the market tend to be rational about the vision and then the mission of the new elected president. And then there's also the potential for reduction interest rate, right? From the central bank will make the market tend to shift back to higher risk assets. Even though we know the Fed, they won't cut the rate anytime soon.
Because of the CPI data?
Not in the Q1 at least of this year, but it will happen sometime this year, or expected to happen sometime this year. And then also there's a sentiment of the release performance of 2023 financial year is also another sentiment that we need to pay attention to. The banking sector recorded strong growth. I think we talked about this
last week. Amazing results,
a couple weeks ago.
So earning seasons.
So banking sectors supported the rise of GIC, and then as investors, this sector is something that we can always look to. And then also there's also geopolitical uncertainty, where the United States also have presidential elections.
Just like
on November 24.
It's heated.
And then there's this means there's potential of increase in uncertainty as well. So it's not over yet.
In the US mainly now because of the CPI data and PPI data and the expected Fed fund rates that we cannot expect to take place soon, right?
And then the last one is the China-US trade tension. Because the US boycotted technology chip exports to China, and then there's obviously still war happening in the Middle East, and this has potential in geopolitical uncertainty. So these are just some of the sentiments that is going on, or has been going on actually for quite some time, that we can pay attention to. So, and then this is the Producer Price Index. This is an economic indicator that we need to pay attention to. So, Producer Price Index measures the goods sold by the manufacturers, the changes. The measure changes. It measures the changes in goods sold by the manufacturers. So basically, if the data is higher than the expectations, can be considered as positive or optimistic, while if the data is lower than expectation, can be considered as negative or pessimistic. So as we can see here in January 16 of this month, the estimation of the PPI is actually 0.1%, but the actual number is 0.3%, meaning optimistic, right? Optimistic from the United States side, from the economic side. So, and then I think I want to share a little bit a decline in the PPI, or the Producer Price Index, could have a very complex impact on Indonesian financial markets.
Why is that so?
For example, if the US PPI falls, it could trigger a weakening of the US dollars, right? And then in some cases, a weakest US dollars can benefit exports by making Indonesian goods and services more affordable for US consumers. However, we have to understand that, keep in mind that this also increases the risk of inflation in Indonesia because import prices become more expensive.
But because this is positive, it means negative
the opposite.
for Indonesia.
And then also for foreign investment, a decline in the PPI it also influenced the decisions of
Yes.
foreign investors. So if the U.S. economy experiences a slowdown, foreign investors, they may look into other countries for opportunities, right? Including Indonesia, and then this can bring capital flows to Indonesia and support local financial markets. And then maybe the last one that I want to share about the importance of PPI is that the interest rate policy. So on the other hand, a decline in the US PPI may provide impetus to the central bank to reduce interest rate to encourage economic growth. So I think this decision have a very significant impact for the financial market. But as we can see here, the estimation number is 0.1, but the actual number is 0.3%. So I think the economy in the US is start to moving and growing. So which means
Still resilient and strong
Yes.
despite.
I won't say resilient and strong, but it's like getting back up there, right?
Yes.
So I think this is just it's a good something good, after for so long, because we've just kind of like pay attention to what's going on with the America's economy. So this is a good number actually for financial market, including in Indonesia.
Okay, that's why we see the USD still going on strong,
Yes.
making rupiah
Yeah.
depreciating. And so these are the Indonesia economic data that we will be discussing.
Yeah. So we talk about the global data. Now we're coming to the domestic or our own economic data. In here, I want to show there are several Indonesian economic data that we can look up to, but maybe we can just focus on the economic growth right now, right? As we can see, the inflation year on year is still 2.7%, the BI rate 6%, and there's also several deficit numbers in our economy, right? But I want to focus on the economic growth right now. For last year, right, the level is 5%, 5.04%. And then this happens in the midst of slowing global economy and declining prices of leading commodities, right? So the Indonesian economy in 2003 will continue to grow solidly. So we can see here, even though with whatever is going on globally, with the
Yes.
tensions, with the geopolitical tension, with the volatility of the commodity prices, our economy actually is still growing in the 5% range. So, and I think even the Minister of Finance said that this growth was the best, one of the best in the world, right? And then in line with maintained and controlled inflation, as we can see, 2.57%, controlled inflation at a low level, and also actually this number is the lowest among the G20 countries.
Wow,
Yeah,
Indonesia
so-
is doing a good job.
Yeah, so we are actually resilient. We're actually surviving, right? That's the
Yes.
word. Remains well, that's the word.
Resilient and thrive.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about the opportunity this week. What sectors would you suggest for us?
Yes, so you actually mentioned it earlier about the
Yeah.
dividend season, right? So a couple of weeks ago, we already talked about it. I think the banking sector is always something that we can look to if we want to look for dividends.
Yes.
But apart from that, I think the most giving also are the coal sectors or the commodity sector. We can also pay attention to because they're always been the one who's giving
Yes.
or very, how do I say it?
Or is it because some of coal, the owners of coal companies are endorsing the winning pair in
Exactly.
the presidential
That could be
election?
one of the sentiments,
Oh,
yeah.
this is one of the sentiment. Yeah.
So I think if the government is the policies in line with all the export and imports and
The
with
continuity
commodities,
of previous policies.
exactly.
Yes.
This can benefit the companies in the long run. So, but unfortunately, we also have to acknowledge that the commodity prices for the past few months or even a year has also been put on pressure, right? Because
Yes.
of the global economy. So we have to expect there's a pressure on the performance of these several commodity stocks, right? But
Maybe we can, I mean, buy now for longer time horizon.
exactly, yeah. That can be an option. So, and because of the pressure, global pressure to the commodity prices, and this reduces the amount of the dividends paid to the stock investors. But if we compare to other sectors, I think banking and then also the commodity stocks can be an option because relatively they're very generous in giving dividends and relatively safe from dividend trap.
Ah, nice. So go back to the fundamental
Yeah.
dividend stocks, IDX financial or the banking stocks and the coal stocks. One is still very, what is it? Buy
Yeah.
in strength, right?
Yeah.
For the IDX financial and for the IDX energy buy on weakness. Okay, but they are getting stronger as well because of the presidential election results. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Zedekiah,
so
for
much.
sharing your insights today. So disclaimer on, do your own research before making financial decision. And have a good day. Stay
You
safe,
too.
of course, and we'll be back with more updates from around the world as well as from our country, Indonesia, when we return. So stay with us on C Morning Show.